ਮਸਤਾਂ ਕੋ ਬਿਗਨ ਨ ਕੋ ਲਾਗੇ ਜਾਂ ਕੀ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਆਗੇ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਇਹ ਨਿਮਾਣਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਮਾਣ ਨਿਤਾਣਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਤਾਣ ਨਿਓਟਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਓਟ ਨੇ ਆਸਰਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਆਸਰੇ ਕਾਰਨ ਕਰਨ ਪਿਤਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀਓ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਹਜ਼ੂਰ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਜੋਦੜੀ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਹੈ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਅਪਾਰ ਬਖਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ ਸਾਈਬਰ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੁੜਨ ਦਾ ਮੌਕਾ ਬਖਸ਼ਿਆ ਹੈ ਹਰੇਕ ਦੀ ਰਸਨਾ ਤੇ ਆਪ ਵਿਚਰ ਕੇ ਸਭ ਨੂੰ ਸਨਮਤ ਬਖਸ਼ਣੀ ਆਪਣਾ ਨਾਮ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਆਪ ਕਰਵਾਉਣੀ ਅੱਖਰ ਵਾਧਾ ਘਾਟਾ ਭੁੱਲ ਚੁੱਕ ਮਾਫ ਕਰਨੀ ਸਰਬੱਤ ਦੇ ਕਾਰਜ ਰਾਸ ਕਰਨੇ ਸਹੀ ਪਿਆਰੇ ਮੇਲਣੇ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਚਿਤਾਵੇ ਨਾਨਕ ਨਾਮ ਚੜ੍ਹਦੀ ਕਲਾ ਤੇਰੇ ਪਾਣੇ ਸਰਬੱਤ ਦਾ ਭਲਾ
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ
ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ Harvinder, this is Ravinder. I'm back. I got cut off. So are we going to start with Gaurav Singh? Is he on?
Haji, he's on, and I think he will. Gaurav Singh ji, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you. So I'll just do a very short review, a summary of what we had discussed last week, and there were different viewpoints that had emerged, and primarily the discussion sort of went back to the previous week's Panch. We talked about the Panch, and that it is not to be understood, merely understood. Jeko kahe kare Vichaar. And then a lot of the discussion was about the taram, santok, and this sooth, what connects it, and contentment, and also and there were some viewpoints that emerged that were very different. One was of a cosmological inquiry of it, this bowl that holds up the earth. And something different that I had put forth, that it may not have much to do with the bull or the earth, but perhaps more. And I actually posted a little late today regarding that on the blog, and I don't know if anyone had a chance to read that. But which is a different way of looking at this. And so essentially we had some different approaches, but where we wanted to lead it to was a deeper discussion. And Eileen G had also asked a couple of questions which are leading us towards the end of the body, going through Ji Jaat Ranga Ke Nav, and where we are talking about what it means ki varya na java ek var. So what would that entail? And what is this lekha that is being talked about? And we had sort of scratched the surface, but we haven't dug deep into that. Is there anything that I may have missed? If somebody would like to please chime in. Is there anything that I missed?
I think that was good. I think so. Ravinder Singh.
Clearly you haven't, because all I heard was silence.
So we could start up where we left off last week. Which was we had gone through the exercise of the Tal Taram and what that would mean, and how that relates with the Ji Jaat Ranga Ke Nav Sabna Likhya Budi Kalam and A Lekha Likh Jane Koi. So what is this Lekha that is being talked about? And are there narratives that are is it sort of jumping from the personal to the impersonal, sort of a scientific inquiry, or is it something more consistent? And Ravinder, I'd be happy if you would take over the facilitation.
No, I'm quite happy if you want to just carry on. I mean,
No, I love your doing it, and I would get more out of it probably.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome to yet another exciting session. I did manage to hear last week's discussion, quite a spirited one, and I think that's just as well. So I will not revisit. I just want to say one thing very quickly. It seems to me that in Gurbani, at least that's been my experience, within a particular passage, it is not uncommon to see multiple ideas sort of, being talked about, and there is sometimes one discerns noticeable shifts, starting off with one thought and then just jumping off to another. And be that as it may, it seems to me that in this passage, I discern quite a few concepts coming up, Panch, of course, being one. And then the whole notion of dharam and dal, which I think you all discussed rather well. I got a lot out of it. And there is also another one that I think wasn't talked too much about, was Panchanga Gur Ik Dhyan. I'm personally very interested in that. Is that a technique that the Panch, the sort of exemplars, as I've called the Panch, use? Is that the technique? But maybe we'll get a chance to talk about that. And then, of course, dharam itself, I know that Gaurav Singh alluded to the cosmological aspects of it, and then Charan Singh Virji did talk about the fact that it is also operating at a micro level, and I tend to think that dharam is operating basically at all levels, at all dimensions. You could sort of view it as ordering the universe, or sort of holding things as they are, and it could also mean the moral and ethical imperatives that we should be driven by. So that said, as instructed, we'll start then with Ji Jaat Ranga ke naam sabna likhya badi kalam, lekha likh jane koe, lekha likhya keta hoye, keta taan swale ho roop keti daat, jane kaun kood, kita psao eko kabao, tiste hoye lakh daryao, कुदरत कवन कहा विचार वार्या न जावा एक बार जो तुद पावे साई पलिकार तू सदा सलामत निरंकार. I'm going to reach out to Uncle Ravel Singh ji. Could you just take a few minutes to summarize these lines for us and leave us with some pointers on how to carry the discussion forward?
Hanji, we just before this, we have said that Tol Dharam Daya Ka Poot Sato Kapakya Junsu Teku Buje Hovestiar Table Upper Ketamar. Then we said Tarsi Hor Pare Hor Siste Partare Kamanjol. This, having said all this, then Guru Sahib is now taking us to the next step of it. Ji Jaat Ranga Ke Naam Sabna Likhya Budi Kalam. Literal meaning that Ji means the creatures. Ji Jaat Sabna Ke Tol Dharam Daya Ka Poot Santok Fabra. Ji Jaat Sabna. Oh, why am I forgetting this? Achha.
Ji Jaat Ranga Ke Naam.
Ji Jaat Ranga Ke Naam. Now, you see, Jaat means normally, literal meaning of Jaat is caste. It also means the class. That the type of creature, the class to which one belongs. Ji Jaat Ranga, Rang means colors. Colors, that is what are their characteristics? They are different types of characteristics people have, and different creatures have, or even the human beings have different characteristics. So Ji Jaat Ranga Ke Naam, Naam matlab hai naam, name, sabna likhya badi kalam. And all of them, after all of them, the Almighty, the Creator, has likhya, budi means moved, kalam means pen. As the pen moved, this was written for every creature of different types and different hues. So what it means is that the creator has allotted roles to everybody. Those roles have been specified to say this is what you are to do in life. So Ji Jaat Ranga Ke Naam Sabna Likhya Badi Kalam. After that will be other stage. Sabna Likhya Lekha Likh Jane Koe Lekha Likhya Keta Hoye. Now this Lekha, this first Lekh and the second Lekha is different. First Lekh is the Lekh in the destiny, Lekh in the what we go to do in life. That is what it is. Second Lekha is about the Lekha Likh Jane Koe Lekha Likhya Keta Hoye. Then that is the account of the total creation. Lekha Likh Jane Koe Lekha Likhya Keta Hoye. To Keta Taan Swale Ho Roop Keti Daat Jane Kaun Poot will have.
Uncle Ji, can you elaborate? Lekha likh jane koe lekha likhya keta hoye.
I'm doing that. Lekha likh jane koe. Now, is there anybody who can write, who can say what is write down what all is there in the creation. You know, a little later in the in Japji Sahib will be coming to Antana Sifti Kerna Antana Karne Dena Ant, that that we'll be talking about. So there it is ke Guru Sahib कहते हैं कि अंत न जाने क्या मनमंत, अंत न जापे कीता आकार, कितना आकार कीता है, what is all the creation that has been created. A lekha, none of us can describe how much is the
So basically you're saying it's indescribable.
Sorry?
It is indescribable.
I'm doing that. So a lekha likh jaane
We need to move on as well. थोड़ा जा तुसी जरा गति फाड़ लवो ना तो चंगा रहेगा.
मैं एक्चुअली ना सारी लाइन लाइन से बजाय लेट्स टेक वन स्मॉल लाइन एट अ टाइम. जी जात रंगा के नाम, जी जात the creatures of different classes, ranga of different colors, hues, that is characteristics, and names. जी जात रंगा के नाम सबना लिखिया बड़ी कलाम. The destiny or the role of everybody has been written by the pen moving of the creator. जी जादरंगा के नाम सबना लिखिया बड़ी कलाम, ए लेखा लिख जाने कोई. Is there anybody who can write total details of what all creation is there and what all roles there are to play? ए लेखा लिख जाने कोई, लेखा लिखिया केता होए. How much will anybody write on this? केता तान सवालियो रूप. Tan means the expanse, the spread. Keta tan swallow is beautiful or present. Keta tan swallow roop is the form. Keta tan swallow roop. Keti daat jane kon koot. How much of benedictions the Almighty has given, that is the daat. Daat is how much is the boons, the benedictions, the charity that God has given us. Keta tan swallow roop. Keti daat jane kon koot. Koot is the, when there's a standing crop, then an estimate is made of what output will there be.
So can I stop you for a second here? It seems to me, and I want to throw this out, that the lines starting with Ji Jat all the way to Lekha Likhya Keta Hoye seem to be connected, related, and then I get the sense that Keta Tan Swaleo Roop Keti Da Jane Kon Koot is really an expression of awe and wonderment, and I want to reach out to somebody else to continue this. Karji, would you want to take a stab at the next two lines?
Yes.
Would you? What's your thought? I mean, is there a shift here from talking about how creation works to then being in some sense of wonderment of Keta Tan Swalyo Roop Keti Da Jane Kon Koot?
I would agree with that. I think that's I think that the end of the 16th, I think the 16th Pauri is a transition Pauri where the beginning of it is sort of picking up on what a person becomes when they do Sunya and Mane. And then the second half, and especially towards the end of the 16th, is really setting us up for Guru Nanak taking us into being in ecstasy about creation, no matter what is happening within the creation, whether it looks positive or negative, but this kind of fascinating, just fascinated by it and in total awe of what is happening, and that's
so this almost seems like an exclamation to me. Keta Tan Swaleo Roop.
I would agree with that. I would absolutely agree with that these lines, before we get to the refrain of Kudrat Kavan, are expressions of awe and wonder and amazement. And so yes, I agree. I don't know that I have anything more to say than I agree with.
Thank you very much. And Gaurav Singh ji, do you want to elaborate on this, or do you have a perspective?
Sure. Yes, actually, I agree that it is wonderment. But wonderment at what?
We'll get to that. But we first want to, what I'm trying to establish here is that Guru Nanak is sort of shifting back and forth, and this is the idea that we need to bear in mind, is what his style is. he's suddenly now making an exclamation, and then if you notice, going to the next line again, he's again shifting gears, kita pasao. So I just want to establish with everybody here that we are shifting a little bit, and this seems to me like a real pause, an exclamation that he's making.
Well, I would differ. I think it's the same theme that is occurring here, and it is actually the Panch. It's going from Sunaya Manna to Panch, and it is moving forward in the expressions that we see as human beings and the expressions that we put forth, thinking certain things that we are going to do this and do that, and which comes up in the next party, by the way, are the various expressions. And actually, this lekha that we're talking about, I believe, and the rang. And
we'll come back to that. I just want to get through these 4 lines, and then we'll go back. Can I reach out to Charan Singh Veerji?
जी जात रंगा के नाम तो लेके I would like to connect some dots which in this body have been I think they're resonating very strongly with others, and but from my perspective, the Woody Kalam, I get a sense of what Woody Kalam means is in Sri Rag Malapela, where Pehle Pair Rani Ke Vanjarya, that Shabad introduces Guru Nanak's perspective that when we are in the womb of the mother, Jado Garbha se cha, then we are provided with the same kind of tools. Woody Kalam is the same kind of tool, that tool of Dhyan that is provided to us at that time. We are in complete live with the Akal Purakh. But when we are born, we get out of that Dhyan. Woody Kalam is our ability to read, write, reflect, and see the things. And that is the core of everything. So at micro level, in us is that Jyot Swarup that is controlled or governed or led by Dhyan. At the same time, the creator at the macro level is having the same Dhyan, controlling everything at the same time. So Jaisi Kalam, the Pankti I would like to share here is it just went off from my notepad. Okay, Jaisi Kalam Woody hai mastak, taisi jire paas. The finite entity as human has the same tool, the Woody Kalam, that can read, write, listen, speak. That is the linguistic traits that are available for the bigger macro level creation, that are available with the human also. And with that Kalam, we have written about the creator everything, and they are different, right? Because every individual perspective is different. We have written.
Okay, so I would like to interject here. It seems to me that within the context of this line, I almost see an evolutionary sort of viewpoint being expressed, and I say evolutionary simply because I live in a world where this is a very strong sort of notion, and I'm obviously a little biased because I see, Ji, Ja, different species, different colors, all being created. Woody to me simply means the flow of creation is sort of causing all of this. And I'm also seeing diversity being expressed here, which is another evolutionary principle. So I'm not sure that within, I get what you're saying, but I would like to throw this out to, I see Dilpreet Singh Ji. Dilpreet Ji, what is your view? Is Woody Kalam here referring to the act of creation? Or is it what Charan Singh Veerji is saying in a somewhat different context?
Right, the way I am looking at is that Ji Jaat Ranga Ke Naam means it is the representation of that there are different types of people or species, or the people have different types of thoughts, because it is the categorization. And Sabna Likhya Woody Kalam that if all of them, they try to define Woody Kalam, if we go by the literal meaning, it is the unstoppable pen, or they keep writing continuously. ये लेखा लिख जाने कोई लेखा लिखया कीता होए, that then also with all this definition, or if they keep defining what it is, but at the end then also you cannot define that what or how big he is. We cannot define his definition even if we keep writing continuously and all of the people with different thoughts give all the definitions, but then also we cannot at the end we can say that yes, this is what the God's definition is, or this is what his boundaries are, and then at the end it is going that kita pasa eko kawaw tiste hoye lakh
Yeah,
darya.
we'll get to that. Let's stick with these two. I'm trying to get to the bottom of these two lines first, and then we'll go, because Kita Pasao is a whole different idea, at least in my mind. Let me reach out to Dr. Jaswant Singh and get his sort of take on these two lines before we move forward.
Hanji, I have just joined in anyway. So I think it's there are two things here. One is, of course, the first line is very clear. It's talking about the diversity of creation. Ji, Jaat, Ranga ke naam. So Ji refers to the creatures, that they are creatures of various Jaat, Rang and Naam of names. It is, of course, indicating towards that this creation is infinite, beyond limits. And then the second line tells us Sabna Likhya Vudi Kalam. So this literally, of course, Vudi Kalam is ever flowing pen of the divine. ਜਿਵੇਂ ਆਪਾਂ literally ਆਨੇ ਹੁੰਨੇ ਨਾ ਵੀ ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਦੇ ਮੱਥੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਹੈ. So that's what literally it means, which scientifically in modern context we can understand that this refers to some sort of genetic code over there. Every one of them, all those species, colors, names and creatures, they have their own individual traits, characteristics, their roles ascribed by literally the divine's ever-flowing pen, or otherwise we can say like some divine law, the cosmic law, the law of nature, which is governing the whole of this creation. So that's what I think I would like to look at that.
Thank you very much. You actually, that resonates with me personally, but I couldn't have put it quite as well. Eileen, are you there, and would you like to add your perspective?
Hanji, okay, thank you. When I was understanding these lines, I guess I was connecting it more to Guru Nanak describing this comparison with the understanding of the day with the bull and the loads. So I thought he was sort of trying to dismiss the nature that you could explain creation with these types of explanations, because it's too big for that. So that was my understanding.
Thank you. Paramjit Singh ji, I think I've missed you.
Vaheguru Ji Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Fateh Ji. I'm listening to what people are saying, and I agree with what is being said. But some of the things have not been said, and I just want to throw that open for my own clarification. The word lekha here, is it being referred to destiny? Is it being referred to what people have been calling karma? Or is it, as Ravir Singh said, it's a role? I can't believe that God is assigning roles to everybody, but He has given us intellect to act according to our free will. So I come back to this thing, the way we have written that He has defined, He has created the diversity in its nature, in His creation, and with each aspect of this diversity of the creation, He has also put the word lekha, which is not clear to me, and I want to throw it open, what this lekha refers to here.
Okay. Are there any takers in this? And please keep the context in mind within this passage. What is meant by lekha here? Is it, as Paramjit Singh ji asked, karam? Is it in reference to the Vudi Kalam that was mentioned in the line above? In other words, is it the fact that this particular writing or instruction, as Jaswant Singh Ji said, genetic code, is there any taker for this? Let me just throw this out there.
If you allow me, Virji,
sure, go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to say this lekha basically refers to the first line, ji, jaat, ranga, ke, naam, because second line is the part of it. Sabna likhya vudi kalam. So a lekha, the account of all those ji, which have various jaat, rang, nav, and all those, a lekha. So this is referring to that is so comprehensive that it is beyond human comprehension in that sense. Yep.
Paramjit Singh Ji, does that make sense to you?
It does. No, I read it in front of me. That I think Jaswant Singh Ji is right that it's referring possibly to, not possibly, it is indeed referring to the first two lines. Yes, but I have to think a little more. Yeah, but I think I agree with what is being said. Yes.
Okay. Is there a differing view to what was just said?
Yes, I'd like to offer a different view.
Okay,
and I think
Gaurav Singh Ji.
What's
your view?
In my view, this has more to do with how is it that I am living as a human being, and as I traverse through my life.
So let me just stop you here for a second. We are considering two lines together that we feel are related to one another. So start with the beginning.
I'm not going back to the beginning. But if you allow me to make my point, it's almost like if we can't keep talking about these two lines without the context of the lines that were before it, because we were talking about a zor, we were talking about a tarti. We can't just disconnect everything within the same body and now give it a different view.
No.
It has to make some sense.
We want to first get past the two lines and then we'll connect it.
So what I'm saying is this lekha has to do with what is it that I am writing out for myself. All these different viewpoints, these are coming in diverse views like we have at this panel. We have different views. And this lekha, this particular lekha that is being talked about, is about the state of being Panch, living in authentic life. Has to do with sunna, manna. There's a thread. It connects. It's not just removing it out of context and now talking about the mysterious.
So read the line "E lekha likh jane koi" and try and explain what you are trying to explain.
Okay. So this lekha that is being talked about is the life authentic, the life of Panch. And this is not going to be known, as previous lines had talked about, Jeko kaha kare vichar karte ka karna nahi shumar. This is not going to come through mere vichar. And few lines down the road, it tells it again, Kudrat kavan kaha vichar. So, e lekha likh jana koi. It is only known, it is gotten through that being that is being talked about. It is actually through the being that one gets it. It is not mere understanding, because all people come with various opinions, and we've tried this and we've tried that in all different shades and rhetoric. But the substance of the being that is being discussed, it is consistent with what was being referred to in the lines prior. And this lekha that is being talked about, oh, sirf likhan wala hi jaan sakta hai. It is the one who is living it. Lekha likhya, and now obviously we're talking about the laudation of this being being Panch, that state an exemplar. And I'm throwing it out there for your consideration. We don't have to agree.
Oh no, I'm forget agreeing. I'm completely baffled. I don't think I've understood anything you've said, but I'll throw it out to the panel. I'll maybe learn from them. It's going to take me a little bit to unpack what you've said. So is there anybody on the panel who wants to actually comment on what Gaurav Singh just said?
Let me just get back to the laws and science and all that thing which we are trying to bring it closer to what's this Woody Kalam and all the things. I think we should be very considerate about the phrase "Jaisi kalam Woody hai mastak taisi jeede paas." I can write an account of the whole creation in my own words, and so does everyone on the panel, and the 7 billion people are writing their own account of how they think about the creation. But the Guru Nanak here is trying to tell us that whatever we can write, whatever any person, Ji, Jat, every color, every type of person can write, the lekha is unwritable, because they have to understand that this whole thing has originated from just one koao, kitab sawe ko koao. We'll go on that. But whatever creation, through the language, through the word, through the thought process, we can write about an account, and that account is unable to explain the whole, how this lekha has been written, because only he knows that, or the creator knows that. But the methodology, but the tools have been provided to every person. It's nothing of genetic code or nothing else. I can learn language, I can write an account of everything, and that will differ from every person's account, because my perception, my vocabulary, my language, my account of lekha is different than every other person. That's all I want to say. Thanks.
Ekunkarji, do you have any opinion on this?
Yeah, I'm grateful to share a couple thoughts. I don't know if it will help or make things worse, but
you know, we are airing our opinions. We don't all have to we don't have to agree. I think the more opinions we have, the better. It's really trying to. We'll all find our breakthroughs.
You know, looking at these lines and listening to everyone, for myself, I always come back to Guru Nanak. That in his enlightenment moment, he saw the cosmos, and he saw the role that vibration and sound and language plays in the creative process.
Absolutely.
And in fact, when we look at Sikh history, it is because Gurmukhi is manifesting as a written and this language that it changes society, and this idea that the writing is the creative power in our lives, and also the writing, that there is someone who's writing, there is that cosmic consciousness that's writing, and we're living the story that's being written for us.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And so when we look at these lines, the Guru's saying, look, I'm going to start taking you into Sabana Likya Vudi Kalam, Lekha Likha Jane Koi. It's that, we can't write this account. He's simultaneously waking us up to our power to write, waking us up to our power to create through sound and through vibration, because that's how creation works, and then aligning us to the reality that there's a greater power that's writing the creation that we're a part of, and if we will own our power to create through vibration at the same time as living in awe of the power that has written us and created us, that is the empowered human life,
That's correct. That is correct. Absolutely.
Viji, we are not trying to emphasize correctness. We all have differing perhaps opinions. So I appreciate. I mean, to me, I marvel at the fact that we can take these two lines, have a bunch of people look at it differently, and still make sense. I mean, to me, that's the wonder of this. I mean, I've heard differing views, and every view appears to make eminent sense. With that, I'll go to Dilpreet Singh Ji. Dilpreet,
it's a very good learning experience for me. I think when I came into this, I was thinking that by writing, or there is no way it is going. It is about the complete definition, or we cannot find the end. But I think I'm leaning more towards that the genetic code, that Ji Jaat Ranga ke naam sabna likhe budi kalam. I think it's a good learning experience for me. I will leave it at that.
Uncle Ravel Singh Ji, do you want to add any further comments before we move on?
You see, I would only submit one thing, that when we are having a look at the Gurbani, we should see the flow of the lines as it is going. Guru Sahib has first said that Ji Jaat Ranga ke naam sabna likhya badi kalam. So likhya, writing by move of the pen. then a lekha likh jane ko a lekha likhya kaisa hoye. Having said earlier that there are diversity of people, diversity of creatures, diversity of the creation, and everybody has been written. The role of everybody is written, has been allotted by the Almighty. Now, is this lekha, this writing, is there anybody, if somebody thinks he can write, this is how it's going. A lekha likh jane kohe, if somebody thinks that I can write, yes, I'm in a position to write, then you should tell me, likha likhya kehta hoye, what all will he or she write, seeing the creation that it is. And this is made clear in the next line, e lekha likh jane kohe, lekha likhya kehta hoye, kehta taan swalyo roop. How much is the expanse? How much is the extent of the creation? And it carries on like this for the next couple of lines. So I would very humbly suggest that we are possibly very educated and very learned people in our group who think ahead. But I would recommend that we look at the lines as they are, as the flow of the lines goes, and proceed forward from there. So lekha likhya kehta hoye means a lekha likh jane koe lekha likhya kehta hoye simply means that if somebody thinks that he or she knows what is it, or he can write about all or what all has been could have been written, then in that case he should say lekha likhya kehta hoye. Then the kehta taan swalyo roop kehti zaat jane kon koos. What all is there, then is nobody able to say. Therefore, you're not able to write. Only the Creator could.
Ravinder Singh.
Thank you. I think that is good counsel. The suggestion that we ought to keep our sort of attention to the passage in question and to the connection or the inner consistency of the passage, even though I said earlier that sometimes passages have different ideas. Now, Hanji, Harvinder Singh ji, are you trying to say something?
Yes, I think so. I think pretty much everyone in the panel pretty much agree with how Jaswant Singh ji described it, or Sardar Raveer Singh ji described it. I would personally, I think, request you, if it's possible, to go back to Gaurav Singh and see, like, if he can explain in 2-3 minutes how we make the connection of this this lines with the punch, because like all other panel members like agree that this is with the Vaheguru, that we can't describe or we can't estimate this thing, but we make the connection with the punch. Can we request him to give 2-3 minutes and then also connect with the next lines?
Can I just say something before that, please?
Hanji, Paramjit Singh ji, go ahead, go first.
Yes, I exactly have the same thought, you see, very similar about what Guru Gaurav Singh ji said. I find it personally difficult. I feel that some of the thoughts are sequentially follow each other, Suniye, Mani and Panch. Then Guru Sahib has also thrown different thoughts in the same body. For example, when we are talking the Panch, we are talking the punch, and then he goes to Tol Tam Diya Ka Poot. Now we are talking the Lekha and all that. So I'm also looking forward to what Gaurav Singh ji is going to say, how they are connected. I find them disjoint ideas, but very comprehensive picture of diverse nature of creation. Anyways,
all right, very well. Gaurav Singh ji, you're on. You heard the question.
Okay, thank you. And first of all, I have to say that I find what everyone is saying fascinating. And I'm not in any way find those views threatening. I think there is a beauty in what was put forth. What I want to put forward, and actually I wrote on the blog quite a bit about this to sort of connect the dots. And I'll just say one thing: when we're talking about lekha, it is within context of where this body is taking us, which makes sense. So I actually want to bring it to the last few lines that talk about Kudrat Kavan Kaha Vichaar Varya Na Java Ekvar Jo Tud Bhava Sai Padikar Tu Sada Salamat Nirankar. So who is being talked to? Because only in that understanding will lekha and all of this make sense. So if this just a truism that Guru Sahib is talking about the akal, about the expanse of the infinite one, then what value does that have for me, the human being sitting here, in becoming a Vichaar? And if it has value, then it has some value in my own transformation from being a fractured human being, living a dualistic life, because this me and Akal Purakh being separate is the problem. And that Guru Sahib dispels right in the beginning with Ik Beant, Ik Oankar. That's already been dispelled. So if we keep going to this outside, impersonal, huge one and simply talking about it, that does nothing for my own transformation. So who is this for?
Can Ik Oankar answer that?
I have some thoughts on that, but I'll hold my thoughts. I'll let Ik Oankar respond to what Gaurav has said so far.
Because, Gaurav, I actually find this in the translation process a lot, and I'll just share my experiences that without, just on a totally intuitive, poetic level, truly intuitive and poetic, the Guru Nanak is always going back and forth between talking to himself as a being in his mind and talking to the one that he's not separate from, but the lover beloved relationship that we have to have. And so it's like the union is not in question from Ik Oankar, but the mind has to come to the place of surrendering to it. And so in my intuitive experience of translating in the poetry is you're always going back and forth between talking to the mind and talking to the one, and out of love and devotion, and talking back to the mind and talking back to the one, and talking to the mind and talking back to the one, and it's just like this intricate inner dialogue that involves the macro consciousness and the micro consciousness. And I don't think there's a grammatical way to determine it. I think it's totally in the poetry and the flow and the intuition of it. So that's something I work on a lot, and I'm grateful to share my experience about it.
Thank you, Ik Oankar ji. Jaswant Singh ji, do you have a thought on this?
Hanji, I think Rahul Virji also mentioned this, and the question basically was about a lekha, that what this lekha word refers to. So I think after the line Pancha ka gur ek dhyan, the description of Panch had been, you can say, pause there, given a pause there, and then Guru Sahib begins with Je ko kahe kare vichar, karte ke karna nahi shumar. So there are two words, karta and karna, the creator and creation. So in a sense, this lekha, without any doubt, refers to that creation, and the creation includes ji, jaat, ranga ke naam, not just one individual. It's easy to write about a country, write about a culture, write about a person, but to write about all those individuals, lekha, jede likhya ke sabna likhya vadi kalam. The creator, ਉਹ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਲੇਖਾ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਉਹ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਲੇਖਾ ਕੋਈ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਲਿਖਿਆ, ਇਹ ਲੇਖਾ ਲਿਖ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੈ ਕੋਈ. If anyone, Guru Sahib is not asking us to that you can't go and write down, but he said even if somebody knows that, so lekha likhya keta hoy, how big that account is going to be. And also in the end we know the Guru Sahib is going to end with Kudrat kavan kahan vichar. So all these lines, definitely gives us a pointer that they all refer to Kudrat, creation, and the creator. That writing about all this, they are not asking us not to write about or not to think about it, but in a wonderful sense, the Guru Sahib is saying, "Ye lekha je koi jaanda bhi hove, ye lekha te fir ande lekha likhya keta hoye." That it is really, something beyond my individual capacity and so. Hanji.
Hanji, thank you. Paramjit Singh ji, do you want to add anything to that now that since you had a couple of questions at the start?
Yes, no, I just want to respond to, or not respond to, but just want to add my comment to the point of what Guru Singh ji just said, that how does this Pauri help him become a Vichara? My feeling is Guru Sahib are telling us we should be very diligent in understanding Gurbani. Any single Pauri is not going to make us Vichara. Sunni and Anova alone is not going to make us Vichara. You have to maniye to and gaviye to. So by taking one Pauri and say how does it help you make, we have to take a collective message from number of Pauris, and then we see how we can become Satyara. So this is one aspect, and we have to add more things. So by looking at this body and say how we can become Satyara, I cannot answer that. But once I add other information, yes, then we will be able to do it.
May I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Because we all of us have talked about lekha and lekha being written. Have we examined the contradictions inherent? Je mera lekha kise ne likhya hoya. What does that do for every human being and choice and as lived?
I think Dr. Jaswant Singh just said that is not what it means with lekha. It's not what the lekha written about you. It is about the creation, about two previous lines. That is my understanding. I think the way you said it, the lekha is your destiny or all that occur. And I had the same question, but I was corrected. It is not what it means. It means the creation, about the description of the creation. That's my understanding.
Hanji, does that put things in perspective here, or are there still questions around this? Anybody have any questions? So to me, it's important that we keep the context of the passage and the fact that, you know, as Jaswant Singh Ji very eloquently explained, it is about entire creation and how the creative process works. And to Gaurav Singh's remark that this, you know, has to, whose lekha this is, and, you know, it has to mean something to me personally. My sense is, Gaurav, that the worldview that you carry has very profound implications on how you behave. So if we understand this from an evolutionary perspective, I mean, is the way I'm catching it, it has profound implications on how I will act individually. But that said, I mean, this is a very beautiful conversation, but obviously something that we can't finish off here. If there's no other question around these two lines, I would like to, in the last 5 or 10 minutes, move on to Kita Pasau Eko Kawau. I'm skipping Keta Tan Swalyoru because we've touched on it off and on. I would like to get to Kita Pasau Eko Kawau Tiste Hoy Lak Dariyao. And for that, I'd like to reach out to Charan Singh Virji. Virji, will you expound on this for us so that we can at least get going on it?
I think I'll revert back to my old perspective where I find everything, listening, speaking, reading, and reflecting ability in a human comes through through these senses, and that's what to me are the punch. And this all originates from one kawau only. I think where you interrupted me, and I think it's okay because
I'm sorry, that's my job.
He was mentioning the same thing, that creator has used the same method of sound to create the creation. And so do I do the same way. When I speak, I create a word. I communicate with the word. I connect with the word. So the same method which the creator has used to create the creation has been used by me to experience the world around me. However, I am a finite and the creator is infinite. Kita Pasau Eko Kawau means through just with that sound, the creator has created everything. So the methodology which I was insisting before also, the creator has used the same methodology, which as a finite I can use the same. And I can write, I can account for, though as a finite there are limitations. Kita Pasau Eko Kawau Tiste Hoy Lak Dariyao. Once the creator has created that, all those finite beings can create the same way the next. What is going to happen, what type of world we want, what type of everything we can do, the way creator has created us, we can do the same thing. However, the creation cannot do what creator has done. So creator remains the supreme, whereas creation remains finite, and that's the connectivity. We can transcend that connectivity. We can merge into that creator, the soul being, through the same method with which the creator has created us. We can use the power of Gurbani, listening, speaking, reading, reflecting, to merge back into the same source from where we have originated. That's
Thank
a
you,
simple
Ji.
message I think I have.
Thank you. Just one thing, Virji, would you take a stab at the same lines, Kitab Saweko Kawao, all the way to the end? And there is something that Charan Singh Virji said that I found interesting, and perhaps you can comment on it. He suggested that there was, at least I picked up on that, I could be mistaken, that there was a distinction between the creator and creation, that creation was finite and the creator was infinite. Would you want to comment on that as you explain these lines to us?
Okay, maybe I may not like to comment on VG, but I would like to go ahead
No,
with my own.
I just need some. We are trying to understand better.
Yeah. You're right. Thank you. So to me, ਕੀਤਾ ਪਸਾਓ एको ਕਵਾਓ, the ਕਵਾਓ word ਜਿਵੇਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਚ ਅੱਜਕੱਲ ਵੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਨਾ ਕਵਾਉਣਾ, right? It refers to bolna, and literally it refers to shabad, which further goes on to hukam, we can say. So this is literally, we can say, they say that by a single command word of the creator, he had expanded the whole of this creation. So this is, we can say, that how this command goes on, and I think that's really not the context here. The Guru Sahib just want to say the creator is so powerful कि उसने अपने एक हुक्म नाल ही सारी दी सारी ਜਿਹੜੀ ਪਸਾਰਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹ ਪਸਾਰ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੈ.
Can you just spend a minute on what Daryao here means? Does it literally mean rivers?
Yep. I'm going to go there. So I mean scientifically now we know that this may some way we can say could be understood by the theory of this Big Bang kind of thing. Okay, the next line says Tisate hoye lakh daryao. Daryao literally is again rivers, streams, you can say, but here it refers to streams of beings, streams of consciousness, of creatures that in this world. So this is because Gurbani always uses a poetic language. So it has a beautiful symbolic terms being used throughout, that we need to understand. So to me it's very simple कि उस वाहिगुरु ने, he is so powerful, कीता पसाओ एको कवाओ, ये सारे दा सारा पसारा ਜਿਹਦਾ ਕਿ ਉੱਪਰ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਸੀ ਲੇਖਾ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾ ਸਕਦਾ, ਉਹ ਉਹਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਆਪਣੇ ਹੁਕਮ ਨਾਲ ਪਸਾਰਾ ਪਸਾਰਤਾ ਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਇੱਕ ਹੁਕਮ ਤੋਂ ਹੀ ਤਿਸ refers to that ਕਵਾਓ, एको ਕਵਾਓ ਤੋਂ ਹੀ ਹੋਏ ਲੱਖ ਦਰਿਆਓ, the millions of streams of lives, you can say, of consciousness, started being, come into being, and that goes next, kudrat kaman kahan vichar, that it is so beyond that I cannot really describe whole of this process of the creation going on. Hanji
Ji, Varya na jama ek var. Can you talk about Varya na jama?
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, this is the concluding line. Kudrat kaman kahan vichar. Edi vichar ki kahi ja sakde. In a sense, it is beyond. It is beyond. And the next is Varyana Jama Ek Var. Here the scholars have, described it in various different ways. Some are saying that the Guru Sahib says, I can't even be sacrificed once before you, right? That I'm not even so capable of. But there's another viewpoint that I would like to agree to that says Varyana Jama Ek Var, that in place of trying to describe it or find out its ends, why not I should humble myself or literally sacrifice myself before this wonderful creation and his process just once for all. So that's complete submission to it. So to me, that makes more sense कि ये कहने की बजाय भी मैं एक बार भी तेरे तो कुर्बान नहीं हो सकता. It makes more sense if we say वारयाना जावा एक बार, कि मैं क्यों ना इको बार तेरे तो कुर्बान हो जावा. And then that takes us to the last two lines, because जो तो भावै साई भली का. भी ये process किमें बनेया, किस तरह बनेया, कितना वड्डा है, whatever pleases you, literally again, whatever is in accordance with your will, जो तुद भावै साई भली कार. Again it takes us to the acceptance. At the end of the day, I would like to accept that जो तेनू भाउंदा है वही कार भली है. तू सदा salamat is ever eternal, ever permanent. The creation comes and goes, but it's only you. ਉਹਦੇ ਲਈ ਵੀ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਨਿਰੰਕਾਰ. So this last line is being addressed to him. Hey Vaheguru, O formless creator who is manifested through his own creation, and so he is basically formless. So लिखिया कि हे निरंकार, you are the one who is ever eternal, ever permanent. all else, the creation comes and goes. So this is how, to me, this is what it is like.
Thank you very much. Do appreciate your insight. We are just about out of time as I look at my watch here. And I do want to thank everyone for their contribution. I think what we need to do, Harvinder Singh, is that when we start next week, perhaps we ought to dwell on these last lines a little bit before moving on to the next Pauri. Is everyone agreeable to that?
Yes.
Yeah, because we've just started this discussion, and these are interesting. There's some interesting insights here. So that's what I propose that we do.
Can I throw a closing comment, which maybe we can take up next time? Just
30 seconds.
Line. Yeah, 20 seconds. And Dr. Justin just said Kawaw means hukam. I think we have to be careful because hukam has been used in Gurbani. We are going to get confused if this thing becomes the same hukam or different hukam. Because I just want to throw it open that let's make sure that we don't confuse that are we talking the same hukam, but anyways we will talk about that next time.
So we'll talk about this next week.
Yeah.
With that, Fateh Purwan Karni ji, Vaisakhi ka Khalsa, Vaisakhi ki Fateh.